News.
Hey, Phil, good morning. Appreciate your time. Just to start off, I guess just a health status with the roster. Do you guys expect to get Hunter and Brandon back tomorrow and have everyone else available?
Hunter and Brandon were here last night. We had a workout at 5 o'clock last night. They were here. They were not full participants. So a lot will be based on how they respond and how much they can get into live action today.
Okay, so it sounds like it'll be another game where Juwan will make a decision, I guess, whether he feels comfortable not to play them.
Yes, and not cliches, but their well-being, long-term well-being, will be the determining factor.
And another question, just Zeb. I know he hasn't traveled with the team the last 2 games. What's going on with him? Is there any? I guess just what's his status?
He's just working through some things, getting all the support from the coaching staff, from the personnel on campus, and making sure again that he's in a good place mentally to rejoin the team if that's what's best for him.
Thanks.
Next question is from Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider.
Hey, Phil. Thanks for taking the time. I'm curious with when players are going through shooting slumps. Juwan talks a lot about, just let them keep shooting, feed them with confidence. Is there a point though where you have to balance maybe wanting to tweak the mechanics or see if there's something more to it when it goes on for multiple games or multiple weeks?
That's a really interesting question, and I think it really comes back to the coach in that you have to know who you are. So I'm speaking a guy, I'm not sure about shot mechanics. Maybe somebody should say, you should know that. Yeah, but maybe I should know auto mechanics too. I don't. So I don't mess with that. And, as I think it's really hard to kind of change in midstream, but certainly you keep a list of saying, in the spring, I want to take care of this. In the summer, I want to take care of that. And whether it's defining the person on the staff that can best connect, that can tweak. We have every possible tool to help them. Every shot is recorded. Every shot is statted. They have this system in there where they can watch every shot. So we don't leave it to themselves, but in the middle of the year, it's really difficult. When you're, how are we going to guard Donta Scott? And how are we going to twist this guy's foul shot? So it is. I think that we all have to take our lead, and I've always been a believer in this. That I take our lead from Juwan, and that the players understand that the last shot's not important, whether it went in or didn't go in. The next shot is the most important shot. And if they have anything in their head that thinks other than this ball is in, then we can't defeat that. If it's a gorilla on somebody's back or whatever, however you want to describe it. But what we want them to do is take the next shot and take the next shot and take the next shot. And if there's a tweak to be made, spring and summer and is when to make that tweak.
Next, we'll move over to Michael Cohen from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Phil, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. In terms of Caleb, it's been a rough stretch for him lately, and it looked like the best offensive run against Illinois in the second half came during that 10-minute stretch when he was actually out and resting. I guess, what have you seen from him in terms of where his confidence is at right now and how he sort of views himself within the offense at this point?
Well, to his credit, he has just a beautiful way about him. He is not entitled, and he's not a kid that that it's been easy for. Like, he has worked to get to that McDonald's All-American, to be a national champion in high school, to be considered, one of the top freshmen in America. None of that has weighed on him, so he hasn't changed. He's still a young guy that gets in. He gets a lot of shots up. He works on his game. He has a remarkable way of connecting when you have a conversation. He doesn't seem distracted. So is it hard? Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it's hard. It's hard what he is going through, but he's not going through it alone. Such a supportive family, a coaching staff that believes and gives him every opportunity, whether it's on the court, in particular, Sadie Washington with on the court, watching film, the words of encouragement from Juwan during practice. It resonates with me, because there are times as a coach, you're like, oh my, but I thought you get this like jittery feeling. We expect that Caleb tomorrow night will go 9 for 9 from 3, and everybody will say, well, it's over, it's gone. But there's been no change in him, and I think that's what you look for in coaching young guys. Like, is there a change? Is there pressure coming from somewhere else that I'm not aware of? Is he overly reading social media notes or things like that? Like, they're all engaged with social media, but he is not impacted by the criticisms or the corrections that people want to help him with.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
We'll move over to Andrew Kahn from M Live.
Hey, Phil, I've got a question about Jace. I know you coached one of your sons in college. I don't know, talking to a lot of different coaches who coach their kids, kind of a theme that comes up is it's easier if he's like the best player, or he's just, kind of a walk-on who doesn't expect to play. Jace is kind of now in that middle and ascending, I guess. Any conversations you've had with Juwan about that relationship and that dynamic?
No, actually, I've had conversations with Jace.
Okay.
I've had more conversations with Jason, and the whole dynamic, because we can talk about because he signed, but the whole dynamic around Jet and Jace. So I don't want to be thought of as the Howard son whisperer, but I did have conversations, and I let Jace know that I recognized that it can be a challenge for both the dad, it can be a challenge for the son, it can be a challenge for the coach, and it can be a challenge for the player. And over these years, Chase has done, and Juwan have done a remarkable job of kind of separating that. And I think that Jace's thirst, his thirst for knowledge, his thirst for information, and then his thirst for an opportunity. So he got his opportunity. However it came about, he got his opportunity. And, now it's a matter of kind of where can it grow and how does it grow? But there will be no change, just like with Caleb's shooting. There's not going to be any change in Juwan's approach, our approach with Jace. I think one of the beautiful things is, and he said it again yesterday to them, and he means it. Juwan Howard told these players that he loves them. And he didn't say, I love you, Jace, because you're my son. He told them that he loved them because he was a player on this team. And I think at the end of the day, that kind of love that is reciprocated by the players to Juwan is going to carry us through, a tough stretch here.
Thanks. And then as far as, his play the other night, I mean, at times defending, in potential national player of the year, I don't know. You've only had, I guess, maybe one practice since, but I mean, do you sense it could be inspiring for the teammates? The effort he was giving out there.
I think the play that he made with the loose ball in the first half, and he hit the floor and then fired the ball back, that was shown to the players last night, along with some obviously clips of corrections that need to be made. And that was, look, every win is not a winning experience, and every loss is not a losing experience. Friday night was not a losing experience. It was just a loss. And I don't mean just a loss, but it was a loss. But those kind of plays, if we can now make another one like that and then duplicate that as we go into Maryland, we're going to come out of this. But certainly that specific a play makes a big difference to the spirit of this team.
We'll go back to Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider.
So you started to touch on it just now with the spirit of this team comment. I'm curious what the coaches felt about the compete level, the defense, the rebounding, the loose balls, as you mentioned. And did you think maybe something got drawn out of your team being shorthanded, being in a tough environment like that? I'm just curious your thoughts on, from the outside, a lot of people, felt pretty excited about the compete level, I guess.
Well, after each game, I kind of sit back and write up, like, what did I sense? What was a plus and what was a minus? And I'm going to go back to Rutgers. And in the second half at Rutgers, we went at it. It wasn't great play, but we went at the game. When in other situations at Central Florida, we didn't go at the game. And I thought there was growth from them. Then you get into this, well, are we playing? Are we not playing? Who's sick? Who's not sick? The two practices leading up to Illinois were like back-to-back, I think our best competes. Back-to-back practices were our best competes. Now, I don't want to get into a player's head and say, well, they recognize maybe we're shorthanded or maybe we're not shorthanded because there was a physical presence with Hunter and Brandon, but there wasn't that presence in terms of game planning and that type of thing. So for that entity, and that's, I think each of these games is their own entity. That was a absolutely legitimate compete. But like one little caveat, whenever you're in a situation in sport and the other guys, the other team, the other coaching staff says to you, you really played hard. What they're really saying, that's coach speak. What that really means is you weren't good enough tonight. We weren't good enough Friday. You know what I mean? Like we weren't good enough in basketball. So I appreciate the sentiment, but at the end of the day, what do we have to improve on in basketball? Whether it's foul shooting, 3-point shooting, whatever it is, and let's make sure that playing hard, you got a scholarship to play hard, or you got selected to be on this team to play hard, right? That's a non-negotiable. So now let's play better.
We'll go back to Michael Cohn from the Free Press.
Hey, Phil, I was wondering what it's like as a coaching staff to have a group of players. And whenever we talk to Juwan, he talks about how much he likes this group and the work ethic and the commitment and all those types of character things. To have a group that you really, really enjoy coaching, but the on the floor results haven't translated the way that you want them to. Is that a strange kind of, I guess, dichotomy, that you feel in your stomach?
I don't know if it's strain, but it's a strain, like it pulls at you because like as we're sitting here and I can hear a ball in the PDC, like we don't practice till 3:00, and you want guys to be successful, like for as effervescent a personality as Hunter, I want him to feel well. I want him to have that chance. I wanted him to go out there and play against Kofi, but I didn't want him out there for me. I wanted him out there for him. And, you know, when he's looking at you and he's 7'2" and he has this oversized personality and persona, and you see the look in his eyes and you think, you know what, he's a kid. He's a kid that man, he wants this opportunity, and he physically knows that he can't give it. And same with these players. Like there's no player that's going to come in here and say, yeah, well, we practice from 3 to 5. I'm good. I'm ready to go. No, I want them to have individual and collective success tomorrow night against Maryland. So it's not strange, but it is a strain. It's a strain on you.
We'll go back to Andrew Kahn. Andrew? I think his video froze. Does anybody have, we'll go to John Niall from the Detroit News.
Hey, Phil, I just wonder along those lines with Hunter, I mean, how is he handling this season? It obviously comes back. He's the focal point, big goals. How's he handling just sort of the frustration I'm sure everybody's feeling there?
No, Hunt is Hunt. He's not really, and that's across the board. Like we know who they are, and I think that if you see a change, you know, if you see a guy that's boisterous and he's withdrawn, then that's my responsibility, and it's Sadi's responsibility, Howard Isley's responsibility. Juwan takes it on very personal. Like, you get up to that guy and say, okay, come on. If you see something academically, because we're tracking them weekly, if you see something, come on. Like, yes, this is not what anybody planned, but that doesn't mean that's what we're all going to get. We have another half a season left to flip the script, and but Hunter's along those lines. He is. The conversations that you have with him, though, are away from basketball. You know, like, is NIL, is that time consuming? Is the thoughts about, well, I kind of was public about this might be my last year in college. Well, is that a burden? I think it's really important, and the tone is always set in this program by Juwan about this is personal. Like, these are personal relationships. This is not player coach. This is what do we know? What do we really know about Hunter? And I think you have to be really in tune with drifting away. And in today's world, like, how much flack, how much negativity are they taking from social media? Are they active social? Are they getting involved in something that that they want to say, well, I can take care of, when we have to be there for them? But specific to Hunter, I think that, is he concerned? Yeah, I think he's concerned health-wise. He wants, you know, that was his last statement to me in the locker room. I looked at him in Illinois. I said, "Are you all right?" And he said, "I just feel bad. I just want to be out there with them." And, you know, look, silver lining in a way, the fact that he spoke up the night before Michigan State probably helped all of us, because if he goes out there and thinking, well, I'll get through it, like, you know, athletes are oh, get through it. If he goes out there and tries to get through it, maybe he doesn't play well. We don't play well. Maybe this thing lasts 2 more weeks instead of 1 week. So there is some credit to him at least speaking up, and a credit to Michigan, Darryl Conway and the athletic training staff to say, okay, this is how we're going to handle this thing. Now, not that it would have been catastrophe, but it could have been a lot longer than the period that we dealt with it.
I think we got Andrew back.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I have a question about Eli. A lot is being asked of him, or at least a lot is needed from him to win. In past years, he was never really the first option offensively. I guess, is there any way to ease what's on his plate, particularly offensively, and kind of get him going?
The answer is yes. Yeah. Like, and I just mean this respectfully. The suggestions of, well, why doesn't he play point guard? And the answer is, well, if he plays point guard and guards the other team's best player and knows where all 5 of our guys are to be on every offensive set, and he knows the defensive game plan better than the coach that prepared the defensive game plan scouting report, and make threes, I would say like February the 3rd, he'll be running on his knees. Like everything will be gone. So yes, we are really, really, really appreciative of his efforts. And when each of us says our prayers each day, we're thankful that Eli chose to come back. And the play responsibility has to be, it's not on him. It's not, and he's not standing on top of a mountain saying, well, you know what, this is it. He's the perfect player. No, he's a player like all of us, all of our players who are flawed. So again, watch him, focus in on him, and make sure that it's not too much, that it doesn't become too much of a moment and too much pressures. Because he's won a lot of games, and he'll win a lot more, but he's going to win them with his teammates, not alone.
Thanks.
Coach, we have one last one for you as we go back to John Niall.
Hey, Phil, I wonder with Moussa, what you took away from that game, or what he took away from that game. Kofi's obviously a different animal than most, but I wonder what you've seen from him lately.
Moussa is a very, 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 very unique guy. Unbelievably confident, unbelievably aware of his own game and his need for growth in the game. He's a good study who will become a great study in terms of film, from breaking down not just the upcoming opponent, but the last game. What does he have to improve on? And it's a small thing, but his ball screen defense was his best of the year against Kofi and Frazier and those guys that make great use of a middle ball screen. I think that Moussa is focused on day-to-day improvement and taking that experience. I don't think he went into the game saying, oh my God, he's an All-American, or he's such a big guy. I mean, I don't know if he outweighed him by 60 pounds, but Moussa was not down about it. I would say he's more driven by analysis. He wants your feedback, and he's constantly asking coaches, what can I do? What, how was I here? How was I there? So it was certainly a an experience for him. And hopefully when Illinois returns here, we will not have to have that experience of Moussa guarding Kofi. We'll have our own big guy in there.